My name is Megan Schmidt, and I work as the Outreach Officer with the International Coalition for the Responsibility to Protect, or otherwise known as the ICR2P. And the coalition is a global network of organizations working to advance R2P within their regions and sectors. We're a growing network, and we have membership from all regions of the world and within a diversity of sectors, including human rights, humanitarian assistance, refugee rights, international justice, and many others. I would like to take a moment first to just talk about what the responsibility to protect is, and to just first reflect on that. And the responsibility to protect, or otherwise known as R2P, is an emerging norm that was first endorsed at the World Summit in 2005. And this is a political commitment of states to protect their populations from 4 crimes. So genocide, crimes against humanity, ethnic cleansing, and war crimes. And when we talk about R2P today, we frequently talk about it as having a 3-pillar framework. And within that framework, R2P really begins with, first and foremost, with the state. And it is the state's responsibility to protect their populations from these crimes. Next, we look to the responsibility of the international community. And there is also an obligation there to assist states in reaching their capacity and enhancing their capacity to protect their populations from these 4 crimes. And lastly, there's also the responsibility of the international community should populations remain at risk and a state is unable or unwilling to protect or prevent from these crimes, to take a timely and decisive response, which includes a broad range of diplomatic, economic, humanitarian, and other means to protect populations. And should there still be an imminent or ongoing risk, there is also the potential for the use of military force as authorized by the UN Security Council in lines with the UN Charter, to also take those necessary steps to protect and prevent. It's very important to note that R2P is really a preventive framework that aims to ensure that populations are prevented from these crimes and that states are able to really strengthen and enhance their capacities to meet those protection obligations. And then just to take a moment to also discuss some of the challenges that we see with the responsibility to protect. First, it's important to note that there has been continued consensus and support for R2P by governments throughout the world. We have seen this year after year within the United Nations General Assembly. There's been a series of 4 dialogues that have been held since 2009. And at these meetings, member states come together to discuss a report of the Secretary General and R2P more broadly. And within that, we've seen growing support for the norm and consensus on the principles that were first endorsed at the World Summit outcome, within the World Summit outcome document, paragraphs 138 and 139 in 2005. Some of the challenges that have emerged, though, are not so much with the norm's principles themselves. There's firm agreement on the need to prevent and protect from these 4 crimes, but rather on the operationalization of R2P. So how we take that commitment, that step forward. There's a number of misconceptions that continue to arise. So, for example, R2P as strictly being a military intervention or the use of force. This is far from the truth of what R2P is really founded on. Like I said, it's a preventive framework that starts first with the need of states to protect their populations. Another big challenge is R2P being conflated or confused with regime change. And this has been an issue that we've seen largely emerging within the past about year and a half, following the intervention in Libya. And there it's very important to note that regime change is not in fact a tool under the R2P framework or a goal of R2P, always centered within the responsibility to protect, is the protection of these crimes. And so R2P doesn't promote or support a particular type of government, but rather calls for governments to really strengthen and enhance their capacities to protect populations from these crimes. We'll be holding with Permanent Peace Movement on the 17th and 18th of December the first civil society roundtable on the responsibility to protect. Permanent Peace Movement is the ICRTP's first MENA region organizational member. And so it'll be very exciting and interesting for us to hear more from NGOs in the room about their work and how the responsibility to protect relates, and to have those discussions on country cases as well, because I think this will enable us to increase conversation on R2P within the MENA region. With this being the first type of this type of informational roundtable that ICRTP is holding in this region, I think it'll really be able to serve as an awareness-raising and educational experience on what R2P is, and also allow us to hear more on how R2P can, the R2P framework can be used within the work of the different organizations present here on these 2 days.